Welcome to another episode of the AniMoguls. I'm the one and only Megabucks.
And I'm truly yours, Tycoon.
Today on the AniMoguls, we're going to be discussing our least favorite sidekicks. Now, we say least favorite because we didn't really like any of them. I mean, I like Pegasus, I guess. I like that he had wings and he flew. That was fun for 5 seconds. But I don't like how the sidekicks almost always dislike the female characters that they're introduced to. We saw this with Abu when he was disgusted by Jasmine in Aladdin. And obviously Pegasus and Phil weren't too fond of Megra when Hercules introduced them to her. And we've seen this in Tarzan. When Turk and Tantor, they're not impressed by Jane. They don't like her, they don't want her near Tarzan. I mean, what do you think about this phenomenon, Tycoon?
Yeah, guy or girl, I think this could go either way, actually. It's because of the love interest. Before the love interest came into their lives, everything was going great. They were all going to be best friends forever. Now they know that the dynamics have changed. Now Megra is going to be the more important one in Hercules' life. Mulan's always going to pick swapping war stories with Chang over having omelets with Mushu. It's just a very sad sort of thing. But many of these characters are pretty redundant and unnecessary. And the biggest example can be seen in The Princess and the Frog.
I just wanted to point out that the animal sidekicks are threatened by the human sidekick characters. What they have with their master/friends is a master-servant relationship, but it's also an interspecies relationship. I mean, try as he might, Abu is never going to be like a brother to Aladdin. He's 2 foot tall, he's got a tail, and he's a lot hairier.
And let's face it, they've all made friends with these animals mainly because they're loners. They haven't been accepted by society for one reason or another, so they've resorted to making animal friends.
Note how successful main characters like Flynn Rider don't like animals. I mean, notice that Flynn gets along fine with humans. He doesn't need an animal friend to talk to. Rapunzel, on the other hand, well, she's been locked in a tower for God knows how long, and she doesn't have any human contact other than Mother Gothel. So she needs Pascal. Quasimodo took it to a whole other level. Because his friends are stone sculptures, and his stone sculptures were supportive, of his relationship with Esmeralda. They wanted her to go after her, get the girl. And, I mean, really, that's Quasimodo's inner voice, telling him to,
man up. Back to The Princess and the Frog. It's bad enough when you have one useless character in Louis the Alligator, or Louis, whatever his name was. Then you have the Firefly, Raymond. They really didn't need more animal friends, especially since Tiana and Prince Naveen turned into animals anyway. It's like Louisiana was overrun by animals and not people.
The thing is that, humans should be main characters sometimes. In the older 2D movies, you would see humans being main characters, and, for a long time, we would just have, either, objects or animals as main characters. I mean, you don't see anything else. In recent times, Disney is pretty much the only company that has been trying to change all that with, a string of human movies. In Wreck-It Ralph, Frozen, and Big Hero 6, they have human main characters, which is awesome. But let's go back to the useless sidekicks.
So, I can kind of understand the sidekicks who talk. I mean, they actually have some input to give. But then there's those sidekicks like Flit and Meeko from Pocahontas. There's Jolly, Esmeralda's goat. There's Mulan's horse. Bessie, was it?
Mulan's horse was actually named Khan. These animals, they were okay, but I think that there should be a limit imposed to the number of animal friends per movie. It's just like when you go to the grocery store and they're like, you can only buy 4 cookies, and if you go over the limit, you have to pay a fine. I mean, if you look at The Little Mermaid, Flounder contributed. He was a foil to Ariel's adventurous nature. Flounder was scared, he was introverted, he was cautious. Ariel was adventurous, outgoing. So, there was this contrast between the two of them.
And Flounder might have even served to provide some tension between Eric and Ariel. So Ariel could say, hey Eric, if you're gonna pick Ursula over me, well, I have options. Me and Flounder could hook up. Don't forget, I'm half fish. I could go either way.
See, Flounder fulfilled that crucial role that only Flounder could have fulfilled. As a human, Flounder would not have had the leverage that he did with Ariel. Another example of a good sidekick is Mushu. Mushu, he's out there, he's training, he's taking hits for Mulan, he's giving her advice about how to be a man, even though he himself is a dragon, and, he's teaching her African-American vernacular. There's just so much that Mushu brings to the table. But when you look at the ant character that was also in Mulan, Cri-Kee, sorry, I guess he was a cricket then, he just hops around. Mushu gets mad at him. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't really that entertaining.
And they just didn't need him, you know? They had the granny, they had Mushu. I like the mentor sidekicks. I like Philoctetes. I like Sebastian the crab. But then there's always this third sidekick who really doesn't add anything. I mean, Mama Odie from The Princess and the Frog, she's not really an animal, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, the way they wrote her into the story, she might as well have been. She was missing most of her teeth, you could barely understand what she was saying, and she didn't really help them along the way. She was just there to be a general nuisance. That kind of thing we don't need in our films. We need characters who are going to add to the plot, the development of the storyline, or at least add some humor. None of which she did.
Mama Odie was just there for spectacle purposes, in my opinion. You know, she had a song and dance number that no one ever remembers. I mean, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, don't bother looking it up. Don't waste your time. It was a boring dance sequence, and Mama Odie was a boring character.
Totally agree. How about the witch from Brave? She was this old hag. You know, the one who answered the hotline. She had really big ears. She was another really useless character. I mean, can anybody tell me exactly what she did? What was the point of having her there?
She basically could only do one spell, which she did wrong every time. All she can do is turn people into bears. That's pathetic. Think about it. You're supposed to be this all-powerful witch. In Celtic mythology, both Scottish and Irish, witches are supposed to be these amazing beings with hundreds of different types of powers. And all we have here is that she turns everyone she meets into a bear. That's it.
And she was even useless as a gift shop seller. I mean, she had all these carved bears that nobody wanted to buy, obviously because she was hiding out under a rock. You have to put your product out there, otherwise nobody's gonna want to buy it.
Absolutely. You know, when the tournament for Merida's marriage thing was happening, all the other smart merchants had their booths set up. The boys were stealing pies, if you guys remember. But where were her carvings at? This was the time visitors are visiting the kingdom, looking to buy souvenirs. Instead, her shop is sitting in the middle of a deserted valley. I mean, who are you trying to sell your stuff to, lady? No one lives there.
You know, I will say I was pleasantly surprised by the triplets in Brave. When I watched the trailer, I thought they were just going to be annoying little gnats. But they actually turned out to be pretty funny. Actually, Merida turned out to be more annoying than the brothers, surprisingly.
Absolutely. And to anyone wondering how this is related to the topic, the brothers were animals for part of the film, so they technically count as animal sidekicks.
And that wraps up our segment on the Disney animal sidekicks. If you want to watch more videos like this one, check out our last video, Disney Blonde Guys. Thanks for watching!